Animal Crossing games are enjoyable. Sorry, most Animal Crossing games are enjoyable. I think I speak for most of us by saying that the series has this charm, this style, that can't be replicated by any other games on the market. This isn't to say that games in similar genres are bad or even inferior to Animal Crossing, just that the series is truly special, and it's doubtful that any other games can match its very specific vibe. Simply put, Animal Crossing games are about atmosphere. They create an environment that compels you to spend hundreds upon hundreds of hours within it. And in my opinion, no game in the series excels at this as well as Animal Crossing New Leaf for the Nintendo 3DS. This should go without saying, but please remember that this is entirely subjective. Animal Crossing can mean different things for different people, so me saying that New Leaf is the best in the series shouldn't be taken as me saying that you're wrong for thinking that isn't true. But anyways, let's get into why I think New Leaf is the best. Like I said before, the Animal Crossing series is all about atmosphere, and I believe that New Leaf almost perfectly captures the atmosphere that I believe the series should have. I've split this video into 3 parts since I think these 3 elements are essential to create Animal Crossing's amazing atmosphere, and are also 3 things that New Leaf does incredibly well. The first thing I want to talk about is the environment. Now, yes, I admit, New Horizons allowing you to place furniture outside is a literal game changer, and is something that should have been in the series earlier, but I find that personally, I'm not too affected by the feature. I mean, I'm absolutely glad it's here, but it's not something that my enjoyment of the series hinged upon. And I think the reason as to why this is something that I said in a tweet about a week ago. Here's a shameless Twitter plug. In my eyes, there are 2 types of Animal Crossing fans: the designers and the interactors. The designers are all about perfecting their town/island, which is why New Horizons is most likely their favorite game in the series, simply because of how much freedom it offers in that regard. The interactors, like myself, are much more intrigued with the life sim aspect of Animal Crossing, interacting with animals, enjoying the relaxed tone of a small town, going through your daily activities, etc. Obviously, I'm not saying it's completely black and white, since I'm sure all of us enjoy both elements of the series to an extent, but to me it seems like most people favor one or the other. And as an interactor, New Leaf did just about everything I could have hoped for, especially in terms of the environment. Public works projects were an amazing addition. They allowed you to decorate your town, but in moderation. Now, before some of you get all angry in the comments, let me reiterate. This is just how I personally feel about the series. But if I'm being honest, New Horizons' amount of potential outdoor designs and terraforming possibilities can be super overwhelming at times. I felt much more invested in a New Leaf system that still allowed for customization, but also took your town's natural design into consideration. And in terms of natural design, this is where I think New Leaf shines. Your town never felt overcrowded, and this is mainly thanks to Main Street, an area which allowed you to have tons of interactions with special characters while still keeping the laid-back feeling of your town intact. And speaking of laid-back feelings, that brings us to our second point in favor of New Leaf's perfect atmosphere, the music. Holy cow, the music. A game's soundtrack is one of the most important aspects of a title, not just in terms of whether it's good or bad, but because it can really set the tone of a game. No Animal Crossing game has a bad soundtrack, I'll say that right now. But in my opinion, New Leaf's approach to hourly music was the best. Each track feels like it had so much thought put into not just how it sounds on its own, but in relation to others. In fact, I think we can do a little experiment. I'm going to play a bit of New Leaf 6 AM, 7 AM, and 8 AM, and see if you notice anything. Did you hear it? The music is progressing with the day. 6 a.m. starts off slow at sunrise, then 7 a.m. picks up the energy, and 8 a.m. becomes an incredible, almost encouraging track. And not only is the progression fantastic, but it also feels like the composers were very aware of what kind of music was acceptable at what time of day. Sure, 8 a.m. has a lot of energy behind it, but is still relatively relaxed, as is most of New Leaf's soundtrack. Let's compare this to New Horizons' 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and 8 a.m. It seems like New Horizons was trying to do a similar thing, but in my opinion it wasn't executed nearly as well. You have the calm, laid-back 6 a.m., but then it immediately jumps to the loud and energetic 7 a.m., which is followed by the even louder and more energetic 8 a.m. To me, New Leaf's soundtrack perfectly captured the feeling of almost every hour perfectly. And that isn't even mentioning night tracks. Even those who don't think New Leaf has the best soundtrack haven't denied that the night music is incredible. 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 1 a.m., 4 a.m., no other game in the series has such a surplus of beautiful, even emotional music. This incredible collection of tracks perfectly sets the tone for the type of game Animal Crossing is. A relaxed one that encourages taking your time and not rushing through things. And the third thing I want to talk about is interactivity. Admittedly, this is something that New Horizons can and most likely will eventually perfect as well, but I feel like it's worth mentioning regardless. I've seen some people say that a lot of us are looking at New Leaf in such a high regard because we're nostalgia blind, and that things like Club LOL, for example, aren't all that great. And I partially agree with the latter part of that statement. Club LOL isn't all that fantastic, nor is Kix, nor is The Roost even. But that's because we're looking at them individually. Animal Crossing is a life simulation game, and what many people forget is that even features that may seem small add a lot to the community aspect of the game, something that is integral to creating Animal Crossing's atmosphere. Sure, it's great to decorate your island in New Horizons, check turnip prices, and donate to the museum, but in New Leaf there were so many characters to interact with during your day-to-day. Me bringing Shrunken Apple daily so he can eventually teach me the Shrunk Funk Shuffle might not seem like much when you look at it in an isolated sense, but once you combine it with looking at the rotating selections of clothes and shoes, getting my fortune told, checking out other people's towns through dreams and more, it becomes something much bigger. Because it's just another thing to add to that life sim aspect. There's slightly more life to sim. Am I saying that Animal Crossing New Leaf is a perfect game? Absolutely not. Most of its annoying, albeit relatively small faults were fixed in New Horizons, but it's New Leaf's charm and personality that make it my favorite game in the series. And while the game might not be perfect, its environment, music, and amount of interactivity with characters around you gives it an almost perfect Animal Crossing atmosphere. But what do you guys think? Did I make some sense, or does it still seem like my nostalgia goggles are on too tight? What's your favorite Animal Crossing game, and why? Let me know in the comments below. Protendo, out.